Hey, this is Jason Kanigan from Make Space Boring, episode number 49 for Thursday, the 18th of June, 2020. Well, some exciting news today. Dr. Christopher Newman of Northumbria University is on board with us as our International Space Law and Policy Advisor. Really excited about this. He's adding a great capacity for problem solving and creating dialogue and all other kinds of good things in addition to just, what he has in his brain about space law and figuring stuff out going forward. So I'm really happy about that. This week I recorded with Dylan Taylor of Voyager Space Holdings. Very different economic model. He's a space investor. Investing in space companies, and instead of the typical VC approach, what he is doing is taking a majority share of ownership in specific companies, and that allows him to have a longer time window for investing and sticking around than a traditional venture capitalist. So very, very interesting model there. Also talked to Chris Kunstadter from AXA XL. Initially, it looked like it might be similar to the Bob Weirdy interview where we talked about space insurance, and there is a little bit of that, but they operate in different areas. Bob is a broker and represents the end customer, the client, and Chris Kunstadter works for the insurance company and represents the money and the risk. So he works with a company called AXA XL and has a team of 4. And where we ended up going with most of that interview, the second half or so, was the influence that bringing that chunk of money and risk management to the space industry. He is able to have influence on policy and regulation and that. So we looked into what influence and what areas of interest he and the space insurers have in the field. So look for that probably in about 6 weeks. And that opened a door for me. I hadn't really thought about the difference between what Bob Weirdy was doing and what Chris Kunstadter is doing until we had that discussion. So pretty neat. This week, full format Cold Star Project episodes. First, continuing season 3 of the Cold Star Project episode with Michael Mealing, who is a venture capitalist and worked for a long time with manufacturers, Maston Space, so really has his head on straight. And I have enjoyed talking with Michael a lot and getting his point of view on the economics of the space industry. It's been quite surprising. Things, just like in the rest of space, are rarely as they appear or as you think they are going to be when you walk into it. I also released the episode today with Dr. Marek Ziebart, who is a pretty cool guy. We share an interest in photography and another one in Dr. Richard Feynman. You should hear Marek do his Feynman impression when he gets a chance. I wish we had that recorded, but I think he did that after we did our episode. His thing is space geodesy, which is the tracking of space objects, and we get into satellite tracking and orbit prediction and that kind of thing. So very cool. Looking forward to working with him further on the space situational awareness side of things. We got a little technical, got into what GPS looks like, how that actually works, because you get the Earth spinning and it's moving and the satellite's moving and you're moving, and then relativity starts doing weird things. Even a tiny amount, and over a day suddenly you're 11 kilometers off target on where you think you are. So there's math involved, folks. That doesn't scare me, but it does scare a lot of people. Probably not people watching this show, though. So anyway, I'll link those below and go check them out. I think they're a couple of great interviews, and we're really starting to get a wonderful picture of what's going on in the space industry through the Cold Star Project here on the finance side and the technical side, and we need the two working together to actually get somewhere. And I'm plotting a path for Cold Star Tech to sail through and into that and really have an impact. I'm also very pleased to see that some of the Space Dialogue folks are getting operators and regulatory heavies onto these discussions. I really want to point that out. That's something that I've just started seeing this week, And I'm like, finally, yes. That's the way to get change made, is to get those folks in the room along with the folks who are passionate about it. And I'm not saying that the regulators and that aren't passionate about these things, but if they're not included in the conversation, how the heck are they even going to know what's being said by the other stakeholders, right? So very good to see that. All right, I'm tired. This has been a long week. I've still got a ton of stuff to do. The afternoon has barely begun, and I've got to go actually do some work now instead of playing around with video. So I will see you next week.